Hello, I'm Jason Bittner, and this is Triple Helix, the Helix Insider podcast. I'm joined today by my good friends Pedro Lopes and Sam Sheldon, and we wanted to just take a moment to talk about some fun stuff. It's not all business for us, and considering that we're so very close to Halloween and fall, we thought we would chat a little bit about our memories of Halloween growing up and how being in the tech world has actually sort of shaped us from our early days. So I'll start. I wanted to ask the two of you favorite Halloween memory. Go.
Well, growing up in Brazil, we try to copy some holidays that are here in America, and one of them is Halloween. And I remember, watching Halloween in movies and whatnot, and like kids getting a bunch of candy, and we tried to go trick or treating. And I remember knocking on this person's door. They opened, and they gave me one piece of candy, and I was just like, what happened? So this is what Halloween looks like in Brazil, unfortunately, but that really had an impact on me. And so when I came to US and we went to Halloween, it was an experience. It was awesome because I was basically getting a bunch of candy, and that was like, I had the time of my life, so.
You remember the chocolate bars you got? Like those really nice big chocolate bars? Like when I was trick-or-treating when I was a little kid in our neighborhood, nobody had the big chocolate bars. Everyone had like the crummy, like,
Yeah, the little one's like an inch long.
right? And I mean, they were so tiny. You come up to the door, and because we had so many kids in the neighborhood going around, they would just give you this tiny little piece. And there was like the one house, it's like the good house, and you would get like that big candy bar, even though it's fun size, whatever the hell that means. And it was like, oh, I got the chocolate, right? That's what you were going for. And now these days, everyone goes to Costco and gets the huge, massive bags, and then they're basically like, no one came to the house. Here, you can have the whole bag, dump. And I'm like, where were you people when I was a kid?
Oh man, I wish I was a kid nowadays, so that'd be awesome.
Sam, what'd you dress up as?
Oh gosh, what did I dress up as? I went as Darth Vader one year. That was the one year I think that I actually went to town for not Thanksgiving, Halloween. And because I lived in the middle of actual nowhere, so I think there were maybe 5 houses that you could go to get to trick or treat at, and there were maybe like 3 children in like a 10 square mile radius. So it was pretty boring, except for the one year that I went to town and trick or treated with my friend. I think it was actually snowing by that point as well. So I was a, very cheap Darth Vader with my, plastic lightsaber and terrible mask. And we were like wading through the snow on the sidewalks to get to people's houses.
In the wilds of Maine, right? Yeah. What was your favorite costume, Pedro?
Well, it was usually Army or Superman. That was my go-to. I had 2. Remember, I was from Brazil, so I had 2. I switched in between years, but and then one time I was a king. My wife was a queen, and that was fun. She made me wear a wig. I had a blonde wig. I actually look kind of good, blonde, but really uncomfortable feeling to have a wig and a crown on your head, I'd say. not a good look for me, I'd say. So.
Well, I went as a Ghostbuster one year. Remember that movie was so popular in the 80s when I was growing up. And so one year I actually had the whole thing, the Proton Accelerator Pack, which was just basically a cardboard box that I attached a vacuum cleaner hose to. And I had basically a big jumpsuit, and we found a Ghostbusters patch. So I put it like right on my chest, and I went as a Ghostbuster that one year.
I mean, that's the old classic.
I just love when I see Halloween, I look at the streets and I see a kid. It's usually like a lonely kid with like, some sort of tarp, like, or, some fabric on top of him and 2 holes, pretending he's a ghost. And I was like, those parents didn't prepare for Halloween, They just threw it over the kid and like they poked holes on it, and that was it. That'll do the job. So.
Oh my God, you just reminded me. My first Halloween ever, I had no idea what Halloween is. My parents made me go as a ghost. And they took a pillowcase and they threw it over my head, and I started freaking out. And because I'm like, what are you guys doing to me? And they're like, don't, it's gonna be great. And I'm freaking out and screaming and I'm crying. What they ended up doing is they just cut a hole at the top and they just pulled the pillowcase down. So now I'm just wearing this pillowcase dress. And then we ran around the neighborhood. And I'm coming out the door, freaking out, screaming, crying, kicking, moaning, and then like three houses in, I'm like, we're getting candy? Oh hell yeah. And by the time I got back, I had all this candy. It was like, oh yes, can we go do this every day? It was great.
You know, and nowadays kids have like those carts too that they pull, and there's like a mountain of candy on top. And I'm just like, because before, like, you used to put like on a little bag or something, and so as much as a kid can carry, right? So it can't kill you. But like when you have a cart with a mountain of candy, it's like it's gonna last the whole year. You know, that's diabetes right there. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Candy, 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 candy. Now, the interesting thing about my neighborhood is that we had a lot of houses in our neighborhood. Unlike Sam, who lives up in the northern wilds of Maine, we had a lot of houses in our neighborhood. And so, to maximize the candy exposure, I actually meticulously planned the route I was going to take to maximize the candy. So, Halloween typically started at 6 p.m. Or when it got dark, but generally 6 p.m. And every year I tried to beat my record for the number of houses I could get through before Halloween ended, which was typically 8 o'clock. So you have a 2 hour window where you were trying to get as much candy as you could. And I never went with anyone because they just slowed me down. So I had to I had to just get through the whole neighborhood. And one year I actually got to the other neighborhood. So like our neighborhood like was this one large subdivision, and then you crossed one more street over and it was another subdivision. One year I actually got to the other subdivision, but at that point it's like really late, and they're like, "Why are you still trick or treating? Go home, kid." Oh man, good times, you guys. Good times. Well, hey, listen, I just want to thank you both, Pedro and Sam, for giving us some of your Halloween memories, and as always, great to talk with both of you. And this has been Triple Helix and the Helix Insider Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Good night.